But then the last thing, David was a shepherd, and he was, when Saul said to him, you are but a boy, like you are in your youth still, you are fighting against a man that has been fighting since he was young. And David said, well, when a lion or a bear comes and grabs my sheep, I fight for them, and I am able to fight that bear, and I'm able to fight that lion, and I get my sheep out of their mouth. And he said, in all of these situations, when I fought the lion and when I fought the bear and when I fought anything that came up against my sheep, God delivered me and he made me victorious. So why would this be any different? So that message also was powerful to me, because sometimes we get into these spaces where, like, we know God to be a protector. Like, you may have a story that reminds you that God will keep you out of harm's way. Like, maybe you've had a car accident and they don't know how you survived, or maybe you've been in situations where the gun didn't go off and it was supposed to, or you were, the bullet was like a half an inch from where it could have taken your life. We have these stories and situations sometimes that attest to one part of God's character, but we sometimes are doubtful or not as confident in other areas. So, and I'm saying this because I'm guilty of it. I know that because of my life and my situations, I know God to be a provider. He has provided nearly everything I've needed, things that I've asked for that only I have only asked of him. I trust God to be a provider. So I have there is nothing in my mind that worries when I get to the end of things that God will not refill. But sometimes because I have children and I worry for them, sometimes I don't have as much confidence that God will also be a protector when they're not in my presence and I'm concerned about their well-being or what will happen and all of these things. So I loved how David broke this down to say that you're trying to tell me that God will protect me from the lion and the bear that come to take my sheep when I go to fight for them, but he won't make me victorious in this battle against the Philistine. Doubt it, so that was a powerful word to me, because sometimes we trust God to be a provider, or we trust God to be a protector, but we don't trust God for other things, or vice versa, so I just want to encourage you that, when I was dissecting this story, and we are all very familiar with David and Goliath, but I love, first of all, the analogy of all of that is just a reminder that there will be giants in your life, and they will come possibly very unexpected, and you'll be minding your business and you might just go to run an errand like David did, and David ended up defeating a giant, and that was not the course of his plans in his day, but God selected him. God knew that he was capable, and God knew that his mind was right, because he was the only one that walked into the situation not fearful, and reminded that he said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that could stand against and defy the army of the living God? Like, do you know who my God is? So we have to sometimes get in those spaces where you have to look your giant in the eye and just say, do you have any idea who my God is? And we know that we sometimes don't feel that way, or we are fearful of whatever giant it is that we're facing, or we feel like we can be defeated, or we have the urge to run from it. But if God has kept you in one season, in one thing, he is not selective about how he will bless you. So he will keep you and cover you in situations where you need protection, where you need guidance, when you need provision. He is the master of all of those things. And sometimes we get comfortable in one space, in one area that God has made provision, but not trusting him in others. So I just want to encourage you, because this was a message for me that, like, I trust God to provide, but sometimes I don't trust him to protect, so, just to, and those fill in the blanks are different from everybody. Some people trust that he'll protect, and others don't trust that he'll provide, or some, trust that he will, bring peace, but don't trust him to bring money, you know? So he said, the silver and the gold is mine. I can do anything. So if we trust him, we trust him. And that was the message that David gave, was like, why would I trust God to deliver me out of the hands of these bears and these lions that I fight for my sheep, but I wouldn't trust him to make me victorious? Like, is God not capable in any situation? Is there anybody bigger? Is there anybody better? You know what I mean? So that's the Sunday love. I just wanted to share that to encourage y'all, because I'm very familiar with the story of David and Goliath, but when I really was dissecting it, and it was just astonishing to me that David wasn't even supposed to be there, you know, but he was supposed to be there according to the plans and the intentions of God, you know. So I just want to encourage you that sometimes you're fighting a giant that you feel like shouldn't be a giant you're facing. But if God is allowing you to be toe to toe with that giant, it's because you're capable, and you have to just put on the armor that it takes to fight it. So I love y'all. Be encouraged. This is Sunday Love.